Oh, it's in English. Australian news. The Australian news. What is this? The radio and it. We're going to have a few. How many? Two, three, four. But we didn't get to the part where we're gonna go over here. What's that? Need to watch. Go like that. Filter it. Today. Apply. And then go back to it. Do this one. And then we go to that. Gotta get the news on.
Queensland Government dumps Stage 4 of Gold Coast Light Rail. Stage 4 of the Gold Coast Light Rail project will not go ahead, the Queensland Government has announced, to the dismay of the opposition and local mayor. Deputy Premier Jared Blaigie today announced the final stage, which would have connected the light rail system to the Gold Coast Airport at Coolangatta, had been scrapped due to community opposition and a potential cost blowout. An independent report found locals were concerned with parking, project costs, environmental impacts and overdevelopment with the current proposal. The overwhelming opposition from the residents of southern Gold Coast was clear, Blaigie said. 2/3 of residents of southern Gold Coast objected to the Gold Coast Light Rail Stage 4. This is a line in the sand for the community that we promised that we would review it independently. He said the project, which was initially slated to come in under $3 billion, could have blown out to $9.85 billion. The government will instead deliver additional bus services and undertake a multimodal transport study for the region. Gold Coast Mayor Tom Tate said he doubts bus services will meet the demand for public transport. The optimum solution is the light rail to continue on all the way to Coolangatta, and I think that will happen one day, Tate said. I think we need about between 2,000 to 2,500 buses. I don't know where they're going to get it from, but that's up to the state government at this stage. The government claims the decision saved 1,100 beachside car parks and stops around 200 properties being resumed. Opposition leader and former Premier Stephen Miles believes the decision is short-sighted. There's no question that these projects are hard, but they are city-shaping, Miles said. This would have defined the Gold Coast. There were more than 5,600 submissions to the community consultation. Nearly 2/3 of respondents reportedly expressed a negative sentiment towards the project. The light rail currently extends from Helensvale in the city's north, where it connects to Brisbane via heavy rail, south to Broadbeach. Stage 3 of the project, which stretches south to Burleigh, has been under construction since 2022 and is not due to be completed until next year. For the foreseeable future, Burleigh will be the final stop.
Shit.
Teal MPs call for reform to get high-speed, illegal e-bikes off streets, footpath. Independent MPs want to regulate e-bikes to make them safer, including having them classed as road vehicles and mandating speed limiters. McKellar MP drive Sophie Scamps introduced the Safer E-Bikes Bill 2025 to Parliament today, calling for national safety and import standards as the popularity of electric bikes and associated injuries skyrockets. We now have e-bikes that are more like motorbikes that are used on our roads and footpaths, Scamps said. This bill is about ensuring the e-bikes imported into Australia are both safe and legal for use and cannot be tampered with to make them go beyond legal speed limits except for specific special purposes. Currently, the regulation of e-bikes falls to state governments. The legislation would classify e-bikes as road vehicles, bringing them under the Road Vehicle Standards Act and create a national safety standard matching European levels. According to research by St Vincent's Hospital, more than 500 e-bike riders required critical care in New South Wales emergency departments in a 2-year period. These injuries are often severe, including head trauma, spinal injuries and fractures, Scamps said. The bill has the support of fellow independent Wentworth MP Allegra Spender. At the moment, the line between assisted pedal bikes and motorbikes is blurred, and this is at the risk of pedestrians, Spender said in a statement. This is not about cracking down on this increasingly popular mode of transport, but we do need to ensure that we have appropriate standards that keep both riders and pedestrians safe. The legislation also has the support of the bicycle sector. According to Peter Burke, the General Manager of Bicycle Industries Australia, changes in 2021 allowed the importation of significant numbers of non-compliant e-bikes. We must ensure e-bikes sold to the public cannot be tampered with to increase speed, and that the entire bike is subject to a compulsory whole-of bike standard we know will keep children, riders and pedestrians safe, he said. Communications Minister Annika Wells was not enthusiastic about seeing the legislation brought to a vote. I am really excited to see those teals come pedalling up the hill, but I'll be focusing on federal laws today, she said. Liberal Senator Jane Hume shared her lack of enthusiasm. If the federal government is spending its time talking about bike riding, we've lost our way, Hume said.
Shit.
The manhunt for accused cop killer Desi Freeman has entered its 7th day. Overnight, Bearcat teams were pictured entering Mount Buffalo National Park as search efforts ramp up. It comes as the wife of Desi Freeman begged her fugitive husband to call 000 and surrender. We want to begin with reaction, first of all, to the nationwide anti-immigration protests, which saw two groups in Melbourne go head-to-head in a heated clash. And this morning we have breaking news from Sydney. 2 people have been charged for attacking an officer at a pub following the march.
We have reporters in both cities. First to Jack Hart, who is in Sydney. Jack, good morning to you. Police have this morning laid charges.
Yeah, good morning to you, Carl and Sarah. That is correct. This morning, 2 men formally charged by New South Wales Police accused of being in a brawl on Broadway and then assaulting a police officer, a male constable. The 29-year-old and 48-year-old were both pepper sprayed, but according to police, they tried running away. They didn't make it far and they were hauled away to police stations where charges were laid and bail has been refused. Now, in a separate incident around the same time at Redfern train station, we can reveal to you that another incident took place. Take a look at these exclusive images showing you what appears to be a fight breaking out on a train. You can see that there's a man on the platform and then someone else in the carriage. There's some words exchanged before fists start flying. And if you study those images even closer, you can see that the man on the platform appears to be wearing an Australian flag. Sydney train staff try closing the doors on the chaos to bring an end to it. By the time that police rock up, the train had taken off along with the person on the platform. Now, this morning, we don't know where that man's come from, but according to police, the 2 people charged here both attended the March for Australia.
Jack, thank you. Let's take a look at your fly around forecast and check in on those temperatures live from the Red Centre. Good morning to you. Cairns for you, a high today of 29 degrees, partly cloudy for you. 27 for Townsville on the way, partly cloudy, and 25 for Mackay. Sunshine and 24 for Mount Isa, Longreach sunny and a top of 26. Rock
Indonesia protests. Australia issues travel warning for popular tourist destination as protests grip Jakarta. Video player is loading. Current time 0:17. Duration 1:41. Remaining time 1:24. Beginning of dialog window. Escape will cancel and close the window. Text color transparency. Background color transparency. Window color transparency. Font size. Text edge style. Font family. End of dialog window. National weather forecast for Monday, September 1st. The Australian government has warned travellers heading to Indonesia after protests grip the country. 6 people are reported to have died in the protests, with the largest occurring in the capital city Jakarta, where buildings and cars were set on fire. The unrest has prompted the federal government to change its advice for travellers going to Indonesia. Large protests with potential to escalate into violence and property damage are occurring across major cities in Indonesia, including Denpasar, Bali, causing disruption and impacting local traffic movements, a statement on Smart Traveller said. Avoid protests and demonstrations and monitor local media for the latest updates. Around 1.4 million Aussies travel to Indonesia every year, with Bali being one of the most popular travel destinations. The protests began on Monday and reached a crescendo in Jakarta on Friday as protesters marched on a major police building and pelted rocks at riot police and police vehicles in the streets. Unrest was also seen in major cities like Surabaya and Yogyakarta, where a 21-year-old university student was reportedly killed. President Prabowo Subianto spoke at a press conference yesterday and addressed the unrest that had spread across the country. I sincerely ask all citizens to trust the government and remain calm, Subianto said, adding his government is determined to always fight for the interests of the people and the nation.
Hampton, a shower or two, 23 degrees today. The same for...
Oh, did it rub it off? Anyway.
Like Avril Lavigne said, why do you have to go and make things so complicated?
Oh, what are you doing?
Like Avril Lavigne said, why do you have to go and make things so complicated?
Tell me!
I run...
Welcome to the program. Let's get into the 3 things that are...
used to say everyone on that bridge is of the same stripe. So, Parliament had its say about them.
Okay, we're gonna react to this one. Reaction to this one is called any conversation about immigration is somehow racist, is dissecting the March for Australia.
March for Australia. Certainly lots of other people have, including, again, lots of people who attended the marches over the past few days. Well, it was pretty obvious where the government was on this. You see, the government believe that any conversation about migration is somehow racist. Any version of it whatsoever. They say that these rallies were, they say that the election campaign was, they say that even conversations at the height of the million people coming back via COVID or coming in after COVID, racist, racist, racist. And ringing that bell today was the multicultural minister, of course on the ABC.
These marches were a con by the far-right neo-Nazis to prey on some legitimate concerns around housing and around cost of living in order to propagate their anti-immigration, racist agenda.
Well, what a difference a day makes, and no doubt much of the response that the politicians have received today from those of you who went to those rallies The Prime Minister has come out tonight and said that there were many good people who were amongst the marchers. So they have gone from trying to sweep it all to now starting to find the nuanced position. One that we all knew would be true, but one that, I didn't know was going to end up being where people would have landed that were observing it rather than just participating in it. For her part, Susan Ley was on social media today talking about this as well today. And she says that we've seen cherished landmarks like the Sydney Harbour Bridge and the Opera House turned into backdrops of division, with people supporting terrorist organisations and holding up images of the Ayatollah Khomeini, the leader of the Iranian regime who sponsored global terror on Australian soil. Remember that last week? And supports Hezbollah, Hamas, Islamic State, people of goodwill have been present at recent demonstrations. But their voice was hijacked by those seeking to glorify terrorism. That can never be accepted. The reality is that is the nuanced position here. But many people, they want to argue the black and white of it, and I understand. But today I want to turn my attention to the nonsense that played out in the Senate. One of the great race baiters of Australian politics is, I believe, the co-leader of the Greens now, Mehreen Faruqi. And she wanted the Parliament to, go as far as she would normally in declaring anything and anyone who disagrees with anything that she has to say to be racist.
On the weekend, neo-Nazis and far-right extremists spoke and led marches across our cities, publicizing their hate and racism. Thousands of people joined them in the streets to call for an end to immigration and for the expulsion of, let's face it, people of colour from Australia. This country's violent discrimination and racism started with colonisation and has never really stopped.
Well, of course, basically none of that is true, but does that surprise anyone? Thankfully, there was some pushback, and I tell you what, well done to Michaelia Cash. I was watching this afternoon, and she, in real time, pushed back on the narrative that was being suggested and the layers of BS that it was built upon. And of course, remember, this is a person who we know has been to protests where, among other things, the person she is posing with is holding up posters suggesting that the Jews should go in the bin.
It's also not lost on me. The irony of Senator Faruqi moving this motion is clear for everyone to see. This is very important for Australians to understand. This is the senator who marched in a rally a few weeks ago where individuals were proudly holding a portrait of the Ayatollah Khomeini carrying a machine gun.
Honestly, well done. Now, of course, when a motion like that is put up, every other representative of the major political parties is able to try to amend it. Unsurprisingly, the government ending up with the numbers has more power than anyone else in the parliament. But it was fascinating to see the motion that the coalition was trying to change this into. Now, this was defeated. It was defeated instantly. But have a listen, and can you find any words in here that you don't agree with?
Our amendment goes to the simple principle: Australia must defend free speech and peaceful assembly, while drawing a hard line against extremism of every kind.
Well, of course, that was chum to the Greens, who jumped right in and took the bait.
Then we heard yet another barrage of hate from the coalition just then. The coalition who are going to come in this place and use their numbers in this debate to run cover for neo-Nazis, to prevent the Senate passing a motion condemning neo-Nazis as part of their hateful, divisive, ugly politics that so often they direct against Senator Faruqi.
Now, it is extraordinary, and I know that the nuanced position is not as exciting sometimes as the one that's in blazing red lights. But as we have seen, with the march across the Sydney Harbour Bridge involving tens of thousands of people, that understandably, when you see one person holding up a sign with a swastika on it, the leaders of that march marching again with the poster of the leader of Iran, whose military guard tried to perpetrate and successfully was able to pull off intimidation tactics, let alone a terrorist attack in this country. Understandably, this is used to say everyone on that bridge is of the same stripe. Well, in the same way that that is not true, it is not true that because of the worst elements that I was afraid of last week that turned up, that everyone who went to the march can be tarred with that brush. Equally so, it is not true. The reality is that yes, there was something powerful that happened this weekend. I was focused in the lead up to that event about my concerns about who was going to hijack it. But of course, the extreme majority of people who turned up. There wasn't a single problem at many of the marches that happened around the country, certainly the one that happened here in Darwin. Some were better organised than others. But it is amazing to watch the hypocrisy of the Greens, who are now trying to pretend that everyone is tarred by the brush of the extreme minority that was there, yet when anyone tries to do that to a protest they're involved with, they are racists. Fair dinkum. Now, again, it is a nuanced point, but I will continue to make it, which is that we had a federal election. It was in May. For the past 3 years on this program, above all others, we have been talking relentlessly and showing you the data about migration. We have been talking about the rental crisis, not just the housing crisis. We have relentlessly talked about every single state in the country where, because of the number of people who live amongst us already, and by that I mean people born here, people from somewhere else, be it 2 weeks ago or 20,000 years ago. We're in a scenario right now where if you call 000, there are some parts of the country where the ambulance may not turn up. If it does turn up, you're going to have to sit in the back of the ambulance because there's not enough space inside a hospital. There are very serious conversations to be had. But remember I showed you the writings of Nikki Sava in the middle of the last electoral term, where their conclusion after Australia made the choice that it did with The Voice was that immigration would be next. She was the first of many to say that any conversation about the number of people coming to the country must be interpreted as racist. We have seen in the suburban electorates of Melbourne and Sydney, this message has been deliberately misinterpreted to the success of the Labor Party. Now again, you may not like me saying it, you may hate me showing you this clip, but the Prime Minister is unmoved by our pleas for this system to change. Because you see, he is part of the problem that is big Australia. Now again, I want people to come from everywhere in the world to enjoy the most peaceful and wonderful country in the world. I just want the infrastructure to keep up with it. There's nothing new. Before this rally had happened or before this rally was an idea, I've said exactly the same thing for the full 15 years that we've been having our conversations here on television. I don't say that by way of self-justification. I say it by way of showing you the proof that we have been in this conversation and in this debate for a long time, and we will be in it for a long time to come. There are many ways to express yourself. I admire the good folk who did so on the weekend. I abhor some of the poor behaviour. And while the abuse will continue to come my way because I told people to avoid this thing last week, and so many others will dance around it, the reality is I had to draw a line somewhere. And I certainly draw the line at some of the nasty stuff that ended up being used by people like the Greens to try to tar everyone with that brush. It's not fair and it's not okay. But the Prime Minister is sitting on 94 seats in the federal parliament. We had an election in May. We had attempts to have this conversation. Yet the conversation was rejected by the majority of voters in the majority of seats. You can hate me for saying it, but that is the reality. Does that mean that we stop the conversation? No. Does it mean that we plough on blindly? No. Does it mean that we work out how best to convey this issue to people who need it pointed out to them without all of the accusations that have been thrown around by the Greens today? Anyway, here's the Prime Minister patting himself on the back. Remember, they started the day with everyone's a racist, and the record tonight is the Prime Minister is saying what I'm saying, what Susan Lee is saying, what Pauline Hanson is saying, What Jacinta Nampijinpa-Price is saying, that the majority of people who were there meant nothing but the best.
Regarding the will of the people, that's called elections. And we have a proud democracy in this country, and I defend it. And people in this country voted for a government that would understand that modern Australia was, as the Minister has just reflected, a different nation than it was under the White Australia policy some time ago. And they voted for a government that would understand that our diversity is a strength in modern Australia.
All right, well, funnily enough, something that we have done for a long time. And if I seem a little bit cranky, it's because I am. Because again, while I completely understand, completely accept people who want to scream at me because I didn't support the marches, this is the stuff that I've been doing on the telly for how long now? I'll continue to do it regardless of whether you liked or didn't like what I had to say when it came to the rally. I don't say that out of arrogance. I don't say that to have the last word. I just say it to those that are interested in the conversation. Hopefully the goodwill has been built up over many years, so let's continue having it now. Now, with those huge numbers that are coming into the country, there is not the infrastructure to match. That has always been my issue. It continues to be my issue. Supposedly, this was an issue that was being fixed by this government in their first year, in their second year, in their third year. In the beginning of the early weeks and months of their second term, they were sitting around a table. Oh, they're working all of this out. We're going to get more houses, 1.2 million. How many of those will be social housing for the, 100,000 people that are already waiting for public housing? Oh, whatever. Look over here. Free Medicare for everyone. Well, what about this? After the election, surprise, surprise, the reality of the numbers are exactly what we said they were in the lead up to the election. That the government was yibby-yabbing, but there was not an actual increase in the number of homes being approved. These are both private and publicly funded. These are both units and houses. Housing approvals fell by 8.2% in July, meaning just 15,769 dwellings were approved in July. That's in the entire country. That's units, that's townhouses, that's granny flats, that's homes, that's McMansions. 15,000. As for New South Wales, the units approvals have fallen by 24%, or should I say 28%, in the past month alone. Again, they talk the talk, they don't walk the walk, we keep the receipts. Which brings me to the concern many people have had since I mentioned to you last night about a Senate inquiry that was taking place last week. So this is the joy of watching the Sunday night show. We get the run on everyone else. So be here at 9 o'clock Australian Eastern Time each and every Sunday night. If the footy's running late or the cricket's on, please series link us or make sure that you check us out at skynews.com.au for just $5 a month. Now, in this aged care conversation, some 200,000 people are currently waiting to either be assessed for a home care position or even after they've been assessed to get a home care package. This means 200,000 people, 2 MCGs of people who want to stay in their home for as long as they physically can before they have to move into an aged care facility. 200,000. Now again, reading from this basic information, and let me break the numbers down because you can follow the data. The number of Australians who've been assessed but are still waiting to receive care was nearly 90,000 as of March. The Department of Health on Friday confirmed for the first time the number of people waiting simply for an assessment was now more than 120,000. The evidence confirms that more than 200,000 elderly Australians were either waiting for care after being assessed or waiting to be assessed. Now, we have a new face to show you. It's a person who, even if you follow politics as hardcore as you do, you've never heard before. This is the bloke who is one of the aged care ministers. Mark Butler is the main aged care minister. This is the junior burger. And despite the bed hair, it was his opportunity to get out there today and be in the spotlight. These are some of the questions that he copped. Wait till you hear his nothing answers.
Of Labor's promised 83,000 new home care packages, 0 have been delivered. Meanwhile, more than 200,000 Australians are still waiting for either a home care package or an assessment of a package. Will the Minister apologise to these 200,000 elderly Australians and their families for this betrayal?
As a result of Labor deferring the commencement of home care packages from July 1 to November 1, a vulnerable 90-year-old Australian is suffering for too long. Will the Minister say, as immediate priority, expedite the delivery of this man's package before it is too late?
Now, wait till you see this bloke. Now, this guy, central casting, pushed up the ranks thanks to the factions. Well, there are people who are able to make it through the spotlight. They go on to being senior ministers. We'll all find out whether the pressure is going to crush this bloke or whether they will turn him into a Labor Party darling diamond and he'll keep moving on. I am not convinced that he makes it to the next round.
Firstly, the Support at Home program, to which the opposition have been supportive in moving the initial legislation, provides the legislative framework for support at home. So the members opposite will understand that the legislation they voted for is a requirement for support at home packages to be delivered. So those 83,000 can begin to be delivered from the time that the legislation comes into effect. In the meantime, we continue to deliver packages each and every single week, the average being above 2,000 packages per week, to ensure that in the meantime Australians continue to receive the care that they need.
Scott Ray is his name. He is 38 years of age and he has a role in how many people in this country are going to be able to, Sam Ray, my apologies, to age themselves at home. Unbelievable. All right, a couple of other things worth mentioning here too. Now, as Canberra rolls on, let's have a conversation about kids and social media, because the excitement in Canberra today was that there are 100 days until the brand new age verification laws come into effect. This was given a preview in the newspapers this morning and was celebrated by the Communications Minister in the House today. Are you counting down 100 days to go until everyone has to tell the internet how old you are before you can be trusted as an adult? Because apparently we can't trust the kids.
We have 100 days to go until the start of our world-leading social media minimum age reforms. 100 days until we give kids 3 more years to build real-world connections and online resilience. 100 days until our children are empowered to know who they are before platforms assume who they are.
Well, there is a version of this system which is being trialled at the moment in the UK. There is a big race, and again, I support the idea of making sure that kids stay off social media for as long as possible.
Come back for you later. I remember something. Get out. This lady.
Very concerning deterioration of some life outcomes for First Nations people, according to the latest Productivity Commission report. Warning, this story contains the names of deceased Indigenous persons. New data shows that Australia is on track to achieve 4 out of 19 closing the gap outcomes, while rates of incarceration, suicide, children in out-of-home care, and children developmentally on track continue to deteriorate. The Productivity Commission's latest annual report showed the progress of 15 out of the 19 socio-economic outcomes for First Nations people set under the National Agreement on Closing the Gap. It found that employment, preschool enrollments and land and sea mass subject to First Nations people's rights or interests are improving and on track to reach the target by 2031. Rates of healthy birth weight, men and women's life expectancy, school children reaching year 12 or equivalent, students pursuing tertiary education and people living in appropriately sized housing had improved but were not on track. Meanwhile, there was no change in youth detention, and no assessment on people using the internet, households receiving essential services, women and girls experiencing or being threatened with physical harm and First Nations languages. Productivity Commissioner Selwyn Button said the results reflected the limited progress of governments in collectively acting on priority reforms. The outcomes are all connected, each reflecting aspects of a broader system and the experiences of the people who have shared their stories, he said. Across the country, Victoria had the least number of declining outcomes and only recorded a worsening rate of children in out-of-home care. Meanwhile, the Northern Territory had the most number of declining outcomes and recorded worsening rates of female life expectancy, adult imprisonment, youth detention, employment, healthy birth weight, preschool enrollment, children developmentally on track and youth engagement. Adult imprisonment rates worsened in all but 2 states and territories. Indigenous Australians Minister Malandiri McCarthy said the results highlighted the need for all of government to work together to achieve better outcomes. For First Nations people, I am pleased that nationally we are seeing improvements in 10 of the 15 targets with data, she said. However, it is very concerning that we are still seeing outcomes worsening for incarceration rates, children in out-of-home care and suicide. Call for national action on Indigenous deaths in custody passes Senate. After the Productivity Commission's latest report found incarceration and suicide rates had worsened, Independent Senator Lydia Thorpe moved a motion for urgent national action on deaths in custody this morning. She said the report's findings were shameful. We must turn this around, or we'll lose another generation to the system, she said. Thorpe told the Senate of her cousin Josh Kerr dying in custody in 2022 and the impact it had on his mother, Donnie. I grew up with his mum, Donnie. She is family to me, she said. She told me about saying I love you for the last time while he was in shackles, about their last hug, about how the system took him from her, just like it had taken her from her own parents. A cycle of grief that has never been broken. This is our reality. Thorpe's motion was passed in the Senate after gaining support from Labor. Now is the time for change and action. No more talk, no more delays. We need urgent, coordinated reform across every level of government to stop these deaths, she said. Kumanjai White should be alive today. He was a young disabled man who needed care and support, not restraint and force, she said. His death is a national shame. We are in the middle of a crisis. First Peoples continue to die in custody at horrifying rates. So far this year, there have been 17 Indigenous deaths in custody. They make up a little over 28% of all deaths in custody since January 1st. For 24/7 crisis support run by Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, contact 13YARN 139276. Lydia Thorpe responds to extraordinary suspension from Senate, ABC News. Senator Lydia Thorpe says the Senate has punished her for speaking out against racism after she was extraordinarily suspended from the chamber for the rest of the sitting year. The former Greens senator tore up a motion by Senator Pauline Hanson and threw it at her after the One Nation leader attempted to question Senator Fatima Payman's eligibility to sit in Parliament. That caused a furor after Senator Payman accused Senator Hanson of being racist before being forced to withdraw the remark. On Wednesday night, the government, opposition, One Nation, and crossbenchers David Pocock, Jackie Lambie and Ralph Babbitt voted together to suspend Senator Thorpe from the chamber until the end of Thursday evening, the last sitting day of the year. In interviews with the ABC and Channel 9, Prime Minister insists $408 million deportation deal with Nauru not a secret, ABC News. The Prime Minister has insisted a deal worth hundreds of millions of dollars struck by his Home Affairs Minister during an unannounced trip to Nauru was hardly a secret, while refusing to say what the total cost would be. Australia has agreed to pay the tiny island nation more than $408 million to accept members of the so-called NZYQ cohort, and almost $70 million per year to cover their costs, under the deal inked on Friday. Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke signed the Memorandum of Understanding with Nauruan President David Adiang during a trip last week. Prime Minister insists $408 million deportation deal with Nauru not a secret, ABC News. The Prime Minister has insisted a deal worth hundreds of millions of dollars struck by his Home Affairs Minister during an unannounced trip to Nauru was hardly a secret, while refusing to say what the total cost would be. Australia has agreed to pay the tiny island nation more than $408 million to accept members of the so-called NZYQ cohort, and almost $70 million per year to cover their costs, under the deal inked on Friday. Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke signed the Memorandum of Understanding with Nauruan President David Adiang during a trip last week. A statement announcing the deal was quietly uploaded to the Department of Home Affairs website on Friday. But it was not publicised or shared widely with journalists, as is common practice. It's hardly secret, you just are asking me about it on national TV, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese told ABC's afternoon briefing on Monday. It was reported, Tony Burke went to the Nauruan Parliament and spoke with the Nauru government. There's nothing secret about it. In a tense back and forth, the Prime Minister refused to elaborate on the details of the arrangement. That included whether the $400 million payment would be upfront, how many people would need to be resettled in return, or the time frame for the yearly payments. He said further details would be released appropriately, in tandem with Nauru, but did not provide a timeline for when. It's an arrangement between our government and the Nauruan government, and there's complexities and details here, including the number of people who go. There's a range of provisions as part of it, he said. The group slated for deportation were in Australian immigration detention before a landmark 2023 High Court decision ruled it was unlawful to hold people with no reasonable prospects of removal indefinitely. Hundreds of detainees were released into the community as a result of the ruling, but it is unclear how many Nauru is required to accept under the arrangement. Many in the cohort have been convicted of violent offences, but have served their sentences. People who have no rights to be here need to be found somewhere to go, Mr. Albanese said. We make no apologies for the fact that we have been very clear about trying to deal with a decision of the High Court. In a statement posted to social media over the weekend, the Nauruan government echoed the language of the Australian government. It said the agreement included undertakings for the proper treatment and long-term residence of people who have no legal right to stay in Australia, in Nauru. Australia will provide funding to underpin this arrangement and support Nauru's long-term economic resilience, the statement read. The payment from Australia would go towards supporting Nauru's long-term economic resilience, according to the government. A statement uploaded to the Department of Home Affairs website on Friday confirmed a deal was signed after Mr. Burke met with the President and members of the Nauruan cabinet. Anyone who doesn't have a valid visa should leave the country, Mr. Burke said in a statement. This is a fundamental element of a functioning visa system. Lawyers, crossbench slam deal. The deal, which was revealed over the weekend, has attracted sharp criticism from human rights lawyers, advocates and members of the crossbench. Independent Senator David Pocock labelled it a cynical and eye-wateringly expensive political fix to shunt a problem Australia has off to a smaller, poorer neighbour. It comes days after the government unexpectedly moved to bolster its deportation powers by introducing a bill that would remove its obligation to provide procedural fairness to non-citizens facing removal to a third country. Under the proposed changes, the rules of natural justice, which in practice means the requirement to give people subject to a decision a fair hearing, would not apply in cases where the government has third country reception arrangements. Independent Zali Stegel said the proposed laws brought to mind what is happening in the US, with ICE departments that just grab people, deport them, take them away and then go, oops, I made a mistake. That's why procedural fairness is so important, to make sure that administrative errors don't occur. And we're on a slippery slope, she told the ABC. Australia is currently seeking to resettle 3 people released as a result of the NZYQ decision in Nauru. But the removal has been stalled since February due to court challenges. Announcing the resettlement plan in February, the Home Affairs Minister said he expected that more than the original trio would be sent to Nauru once initial legal challenges were cleared. Sanmati Verma, legal director at the Human Rights Law Centre, who is representing one of the 3 men in the High Court, said the proposed laws mean the government would not have to confront the consequences what it is doing. It is an extraordinarily cruel and punitive attempt to offshore a problem that, in fact, the government has created in the first place, she said. The 3 cases are the first test of laws the government passed last year to strengthen its powers to send people without a visa offshore. Mr. Burke has been contacted for comment. Social media age verification possible but laden with risks, landmark study warns, ABC News. It is technically possible to verify the age of social media users, but leaving social media platforms to choose their own methods could be a recipe for inconsistency, a landmark study of age assurance has found. 100 days out from the implementation of its social media ban for children under 16. The federal government has published the full findings of a survey conducted by a British firm to gauge whether age assessment technologies are viable. As revealed by preliminary findings in June, the authors concluded that age can be assessed to a reasonable degree of confidence in a variety of ways. But the report did not identify a clear best approach and found risks and shortcomings associated with all methods. Implementation depends on the willingness of a small number of dominant tech companies to enable or share control of age assurance processes, the report stated in its evaluation of tech system-wide approaches to age assurance such as App Store-based verification. Coordination among dominant tech providers is essential if any truly ecosystem-wide age assurance model is to succeed. The survey began before the under 16 social media ban was government policy, and the authors were asked to consider age assurance more broadly. Not to evaluate the ban. But the comments about dominant tech players are directly relevant, given the ban will place the onus on the social media platforms themselves to verify the age of their users. Platforms will not be told which approach to use. Communications Minister Annika Wells and Safety Commissioner Julie Inman-Grant will, in the coming weeks, reveal that reasonable steps platforms will be required by law to take to comply with the ban. Those steps might require them to meet a certain standard for accuracy or to enact certain safeguards for privacy. But they will not require platforms to use any specific method. The report found that a variety of methods were technically possible, including formal verification using government documents, parental approval, or emerging technologies to assess age based on facial structure, gestures, or behaviors. Concerns with reliability and privacy were identified with all of these approaches. Age estimation technologies were less reliable for girls than boys and for non-white faces and could not provide precise estimates. With an average error of 2 to 3 years. Accessing government documents, for example, passports or licenses, carried privacy risks. With the authors identifying a concerning trend of some providers holding on to user data unnecessarily, but they were, in general, more accurate. Parental controls, which are already used loosely by Apple and Google in some contexts, raised both privacy and accuracy issues. Despite these general concerns, the survey identified several third-party verification providers who could deliver reliable age assurance without storing much or any user data. This report is the latest piece of evidence showing digital platforms have access to technology to better protect young people from inappropriate content and harm, Ms. Wells said. While there's no one-size-fits-all solution to age assurance, this trial shows there are many effective options and important that user privacy can be safeguarded. Leaving platforms to decide could risk inconsistency. The report alluded to the fact that large social media and tech platforms, including Meta, Snap, TikTok, Google, and Apple, already had or were developing age assurance methods of their own. But while those platforms participated in the study to varying degrees, the authors were unable to provide detailed assessments of their proprietary age assurance methods. Individual services, for example, YouTube, TikTok, Roblox, implement their own systems for account creation, age gates, content filtering, and parental features, the report noted. However, these solutions often operate in isolation and are not interoperable across platforms. Reliance on voluntary or proprietary measures by platforms leaves many children unprotected or inconsistently treated. The report also considered approaches to clamp down on circumvention of age assurance methods, including the use of virtual private networks and deepfakes of government documents or faces. While it observed that many providers were actively working to fight back against both of these circumvention methods, it did not identify foolproof ways to do so, and Ms. Wells and Ms. Inman-Grant have both acknowledged that no method will be airtight. Expert fears about false positives and negatives confirmed. Many experts have raised concerns about the effectiveness of any method. Lisa Given, an RMIT computer science professor, told the ABC in June she did not believe the ban was viable and that parents would get a rude shock. We are going to see a messy situation emerging immediately where people will have what they call false positives and false negatives, she said. False negatives would be those who are over 16 but deemed to be underage, and false positives would be those who are under 16 but deemed to be overage. The report identified that false positive and false negative rates were both around 3% for age verification using official documents. For technology to assess age based on faces or other traits using an age limit of 16, a grey zone of 2 to 3 years on either side was identified. And there were some errors found as much as 4 years on either side. Addressing the National Press Club in June, Ms. Inman-Grant said the ban, which she prefers to call a social media delay, would likely be enacted with a range of technologies, and there would be no technology mandates. The technology exists right now for these platforms to identify under 16s on their services, she said. Companies will be compelled to measure and report on the efficacy and success of their efforts so that we can further gather evidence and evaluate. Hunt for alleged cop killer Desi Freeman ramps up on 7th day. News.com.au, Australia's leading news site for latest headlines. The police are pleading with the wife of alleged cop killer Desi Freeman to cooperate fully with them in their hunt for her fugitive husband. In a shock update from Monday afternoon, Victoria Police Superintendent Brett Khan said at least one person could be helping Mr. Freeman evade capture. Further, he said while the police had spoken with Amalia Freeman, it's two different things to be speaking with police and cooperating with police. We would invite full cooperation with police in respect to this double murder investigation. If people such as the fugitive's wife Amalia isn't giving us full cooperation, I would encourage her to do so, Superintendent Khan said. Superintendent Brett Khan said.
Okay, where is this police news investigation or what's at? What trying to do it at? It says her to do Superintendent Claham said. Superintendent Brett Claham said people know where the fugitive may be in 7 days after he alleged gunned down 2 police officers on property outside Pepper Hunt car. People know they are whereabouts of the person who killed 2 cops. People have chosen for whatever reason. Yep, fuck you.
Said people know where the fugitive might be, 7 days after he allegedly gunned down 2 police officers on a property outside Parapunka. People know the whereabouts of the person who has killed 2 cops. People have chosen, for whatever reason, not to come forward, Superintendent Khan said. I'm taking this time to appeal to you to come forward in that respect. Last time I spoke in front of you, I appealed directly to Desi Freeman to ring TRIPLE 0, and then we could work towards a surrender plan with him. I'm going to change tact a little bit. I extend that invitation to anyone who's harboring Desi Freeman, who's considering harboring Desi Freeman, or knows something about the people that are harboring Desi Freeman. That offer is absolutely out to you as well. Superintendent Khan said police had already received 450 separate pieces of information to assist in their search. You are committing an extremely serious crime by harboring or assisting in the escape of Desi Freeman, he said. Victoria Police have set up a mobile police facility in the centre of nearby town Bright, where people were urged to offload any information. We are absolutely hunting for a fugitive, Superintendent Khan said. You might have the information that fills the gaps which we're looking to fill. Superintendent Khan confirmed that police believed Desi Freeman was still alive, despite not being sighted since the shooting 7 days ago. The search area continues to change and widen as police receive new information, with Superintendent Khan mentioning the town of Nagambi 150 kilometres west of Parapunka as a potential new area of interest. The superintendent said the week-long manhunt had so far involved more than 450 police officers. It's not lost on me that we now have to also resource the funerals of 2 fallen colleagues on Friday and Monday. That alone is a significant resource drain while we continue the search for Desi Freeman, Superintendent Khan said. Closing his address, Superintendent Khan pleaded with Freeman's suspected accomplices to come forward. I'll just extend that final offer to those that are harboring, or know of those that are harboring Desi Freeman to take up that offer whichever means you may like, Superintendent Khan said. Whether it be TRIPLE0 or otherwise, and we will formulate an appropriate surrender plan. Earlier, a 61-year-old man has lashed out after being arrested and charged about 5 kilometers from where Desi Freeman allegedly shot dead 2 police officers and wounded a third. As the manhunt for the alleged cop killer enters its 7th day, officers allegedly seized weapons and an amount of marijuana when they searched a Bright home in Victoria's northeast on Friday. The man, a self-described outlaw biker, was arrested and later charged with possessing an imitation firearm and possessing a drug of dependence. Victoria police have not yet confirmed any link to Freeman. The 61-year-old, identified as Steve Mallet, told the Herald Sun that he had never even met the alleged gunman and claimed he had toys, not imitation firearms. Speaking to 7 News, he said he was the founder of the group Australian Preppers, which has 40,000 members and chiefly shares advice about hunting and self-sustaining practices. He told the outlet that Freeman was one of the Facebook group's members. It's not right at all, he said. I've never met him, not at all. He was a member of the group. Mr. Mallet was bailed and is expected in court on October 3rd. Overnight, armoured police vehicles entered Mount Buffalo National Park as the manhunt for alleged cop killer entered its 7th day. Freeman fled into dense bushland after he allegedly shot dead 2 police officers and wounded a third at Porapunka, a rural area in Victoria's northeast, on Tuesday. Bulletproof Bearcat police vehicles entered Mount Buffalo National Park overnight, as per 9 News. It comes after police confirmed the established no-fly zone would be extended until 11:30 p.m. on Tuesday, September 2nd, for safety reasons. The directive applies to all aircraft, including drones. Given the suspect in this matter is heavily armed, this condition has been granted due to the risk to aircraft and drones, as well as potential implications associated with the suspect tracking police movements based off media coverage, a Victoria Police spokesman said. Police set up public information kiosk. Police have set up an information desk in the nearby town of Bright in the ongoing search for Freeman. Victoria Police have cautioned media to stay away from the information caravan so members of the public are not deterred. Victoria Police has set up an information caravan in Bright as part of the ongoing search for Desmond Freeman Philby, a police spokesman said on Monday. The bus is outside the church in Ireland Street and will be manned by police during the day, every day. Locals and people within the community are encouraged to drop by and have a chat. We want to encourage the community to come forward and share any information they have. It is also a place they can speak to police about any concerns. Wife pleads for surrender. Freeman's wife issued a statement on Sunday, pleading with her husband to organize a surrender plan with police. In the statement issued via a lawyer, Amalia Freeman expressed deep sorrow for the loss of the lives of Detective Leading Senior Constable Neil Thompson and Senior Constable Vadim Duarte. We echo the requests of the Victoria Police for the swift and safe conclusion of this tragedy, Ms. Freeman said. I lend my full support to Victoria Police in their search for my husband and will cooperate with Victoria Police in any way that I can. Please, Desi, if you see or hear this, call TRIPLE0 and arrange a surrender plan with the police. She also urged anyone who may be helping her husband to contact police. More to come. Read related topics, Melbourne.
Fuck that. Why is she doing that? I want to do that. Whoa.
We build houses for young professionals with no kids, on the up and up. We build houses.
Good evening.
There have been violent clashes at anti-immigration rallies in Melbourne, with police using pepper spray to disperse rival protest groups. Authorities say that overall 5,000 people attended the multiple marches in the city. 6 people were arrested. Around the country, thousands attended rallies calling for an end to mass migration. Two mass rallies collide in the city centre. Outnumbered and under pressure, police officers caught in the middle. Thousands turning out despite Premier Jacinta Allen condemning the march, labelling it un-Australian.
So you think that's
Despite a blockade of police on bikes, horses on foot, and in vehicles, rival protesters came head to head. The protest, called March for Australia, stormed its way to Parliament House and faced a lineup of the riot squad and police. Amongst the speakers that took to the stage, neo-Nazi leader Thomas Sewell, while others who joined the protest distanced themselves from the extreme views.
So I'm not anti-immigration, it's just we're letting too many in at once and people in Australia are struggling. I mean, there's always going to be that element that's going to take it a little too far, unfortunately. Most of us don't stand with them.
Always was, always be, it will be Aboriginal land.
On the other side, a pro-Palestinian rally running for almost 100 straight weeks, also showing support for Australian migrants.
Refugees are welcome! Racists alone!
While also criticising government policies towards asylum seekers.
But what we've seen over the last 3 years is cruelty. Cruelty towards refugees, Palestinians.
Hundreds of police have been stationed in different parts of the city throughout the afternoon, trying to stop protesters from different sides from coming face to face. But tensions escalated at different points. Police using force. Even deploying pepper spray against protesters amid the chaos. The large main group with the anti-immigration march making its way towards counter-protesters on Burke Street, also met with a line of police. Pro-migration protesters criticising officers. 2 rallies with opposing messages, and a city left divided. Brianna Piazza, SBS World News. And there were rallies in 20 other locations across the country. In Adelaide, a scuffle broke out when uninvited speakers attempted to hold the stage. More than 1,000 police officers in Sydney kept competing protests apart. They say the day ended with no significant incidents, while there were tense scenes in Canberra and Hobart as opposing sides were kept only metres apart from authorities.
A city split by one idea. March for Australia protesters calling on the government to reduce migration.
This is our country and we have a right to stand up and say enough is enough. When I walk around Australian cities and suburban areas today, it doesn't feel like the country I grew up in anymore. I always hear foreign languages and foreign people stare at me with hostility.
Police sending them along a previously unplanned route to avoid so-called anti-racism protesters.
Protesters I've spoken with have a raft of grievances, from a high cost of living to low housing supply and a perceived loss of Australian culture. And they blame that on 2 things: Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and what they say is too much mass migration.
We don't have the services we require. Rents are too expensive. We don't have hospitals. We don't have coppers. We had enough. It's time to look after our own.
Others more direct. Police estimating 15,000 people took part.
Do you want to see how good you can get? Because it's scary.
This view that police estimating 15,000 people took part. The opposing rally, called Stand Up to Racism, taking place 10 minutes away.
The fact that they will use this scapegoat and try and fuel this racism and direct people's discontent about their economic situation away from those who are truly to blame and onto more vulnerable people in society. That's what we're really concerned.
Despite the proximity of protests, New South Wales Police reported no significant incidents.
Police are very happy with the behaviour of the crowd today. Everyone followed the instructions of the organisers and the police on the ground.
In Brisbane, crowds erupting in common chants.
Elbow! Sack elbow! Who will stop mass immigration? Who will stop your country from being stolen from you?
Marchers in the nation's capital cheering on the One Nation leader.
You are the only real politician in this country. Thank you for the compliment.
One protester at Adelaide's demonstration seen holding up a sign in support of alleged police killer Desi Freeman. In Townsville, Bob Catter spoke after last week threatening a journalist for bringing up his Lebanese heritage.
Oppression becomes law, then resistance becomes duty. Yeah! And underneath that was written, every man dies, but not every man lives. That is Australia. That is Australia.
While protesters today have been referencing a range of immigration figures.
They're letting in 600,000 new immigrants a year. This is what you get.
Last financial year, net migration fell 10% from a record the previous year to 446,000. It's been reasonably flat for a decade, interrupted by COVID-19, before a record rebound and falling by 90,000 last year.
People feel threatened by migration. They think it threatens their position.
Did he just say 46,000? I'm rewinding that.
This is what you get.
Last financial year, net migration fell 10% from a record the previous year to 446,000. It's been reasonably flat for a decade, interrupted by COVID-19, before a record rebound and falling by 90,000 last year.
People feel threatened by migration. They think it threatens their position. Migration has enormously contributed to not just the growth of our economy, but the fabric of our society.
We love Australia!
The Home Affairs Minister summarising the day, nothing could be less Australian. Liz Maddock, SBS World News.
Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto has cancelled a planned trip to China as days of protests spread further outside the capital, Jakarta. Several regional parliament buildings were set ablaze. The president had been due to attend a Victory Day parade in China to mark the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II, following Japan's formal surrender.
Clashes between police and protesters in Jakarta late Saturday night, broadcast live. Tear gas fired to disperse crowds. By day, the damage incontrovertible, but ominously fury not only in the capital. The regional parliament building in Makassar, South Sulawesi, engulfed, some 1,600 kilometres from Jakarta. Authorities say 3 people died and 5 were injured after protesters set it alight. State news agency Antara said the victims had been trapped inside. The situation's gravity forcing a late change by the president's office.
Due to the dynamic situation in the country, the president wants to continue monitoring directly and seek the best solutions. Therefore, the president apologises to the Chinese government that he could not attend the invitation.
Protests had begun in Jakarta this week over parliamentarians' pay.
The people's complaints should not be ignored completely, otherwise the people will end up rebelling like this.
anger exploding on Friday after a police vehicle hit and killed a 21-year-old motorcycle ride-hailing driver. It hasn't dissipated.
The parliament, which is supposed to represent the people, instead insults them, and the police, who should stand with the people when they demand their rights, ought to take a neutral stance.
President Prabowo's government is not yet 1 year old. At his inauguration, he called for unity. Instead, additional benefits for parliamentarians at a time of rising unemployment sparking outrage. Government buildings torched in 3 provinces.
On behalf of all members and leaders of the Parliament of Indonesia, we apologise if we have not yet fully carried out our duties as representatives of the people.
With little indication discontent has abated, TikTok temporarily suspended its live feature after the government told social media platforms to boost content moderation. Prudhuwan, SBS World News.
If someone you love is suffering from dementia, you know how much it hurts. My name is Lisa, and I helped my mother Ellen overcome
moderation. Prudhuwan, SBS World News.
A search is underway for the killer of Ukraine's former parliamentary speaker, Andrei Parubly, who was shot dead in the western city of Lviv. The gunman fired several shots at Mr. Parubly, killing him at the scene. The 54-year-old was a parliamentary speaker from 2016 to 2019. He was also secretary of Ukraine's National Security and Defence Council in 2014. Officials have given no immediate indication on whether the murder had any direct links to Russia's war in Ukraine. Meanwhile, President Volodymyr Zelensky has accused Russia of organising new attacks instead of preparing for a peace summit. Russia launched overnight attacks in Ukraine's southern and central regions. A 5-storey residential building in Zaporizhia was hit. Local authorities say 1 person was killed and dozens more were injured. Dozens of Palestinians have been killed across Gaza in the latest Israeli attacks, according to local health workers. As the IDF ramps up its assault on Gaza City, the families of hostages still held in the Strip are again demanding Benjamin Netanyahu's government reach a ceasefire deal to end the war. Protesters in the streets of Tel Aviv accuse the Israeli leader of prioritising the military offensive over the safe return of their loved ones.
Horror and confusion in the aftermath of an Israeli airstrike. The bombing of a building in Gaza City, killing several Palestinians and injuring dozens more, local medics say. Rescuers scramble to pluck survivors from the rubble, as others rush the most vulnerable away. Israel's military says the attack targeted a, quote, key Hamas terrorist, and that it used mitigation techniques to reduce harm to civilians. Outside this hospital in Gaza City, the body bags pile up. Locals say some of the victims were killed while searching for food. The Associated Press reporting airdrops will stop and the number of aid trucks will reduce in northern Gaza as Israel continues its expanded assault on Gaza City. While at the other end of the enclave, 2 US senators calling on the Israeli government to allow more humanitarian aid in.
Not enough food is getting in to Gaza. We've seen all the restrictions, all of the obstacles that the Netanyahu government has put in the way of getting more food to starving people in Gaza.
Pressure on the Israeli Prime Minister maintained by relatives of those held hostage.
אם נתניהו יבחר בכיבוש הרצועה במקום במתווה הנוכחי לעסקה, זאת תהיה הוצאה להורג של החטופים והחיילים העיקריים שלנו. הוא ישפוך את דמם של אזרחי ישראל.
As darkness fell and crowds swelled, protesters unfurled a large banner urging US President Donald Trump to intervene. This as Israel said it had retrieved the remains of another hostage from Gaza, Idan Shtivi, who was kidnapped by Hamas from the Nova Music Festival on October 7, 2023. The IDF's intensifying military operation on the agenda at a meeting of European foreign ministers.
It's clear that member states disagree on how to get Israeli government to change course.
The EU divided as the war grinds on. Rochelle Harrison-Pless, SBS World News.
Try this 10-minute ChatGPT routine every morning. Watch your workflow transform.
It's 2025. AI can build a pro-level website within a couple of... Wow, you guys are strong, man. Indonesians are burning their parliament house. My God. Yay. Indonesia. The same parliament house to be rebuilt with your funds or your own money. Hey, is that what the protest has turned into? My goddess, I need to leave Indonesia now. Hey, the guys are look at that. Look at that. Whoa. Man, don't joke with Indonesians. Wow. Man, you guys, you don't fear anything, though. Indonesians don't fear. Whoa. And look at the police people. My. Wow. This video is to address the current happening in Indonesia, what has transpired so far, and the level of distraction in Indonesia. I'll try and be apt and give you all the latest happenings because I'm personally a tourist who is left in Indonesia. I can't go out and I'm still in my hotel, but I'll be leaving Indonesia very soon. But I decided to let you know because I know that there are several of you who are also indoors who can't go out and you need feedback on what is happening. So this is the current update. So as it stands so far, 3 people have been confirmed dead with several other people injured. Now, the protesters went as far ahead and burned down the regional parliamentary building, including the one in Makassar, which resulted in 3 people trapped in with 3 dead and multiple injuries. They've also burned down other parliamentary houses, of which I'll be telling you. So the information also, revealed that Mataram Parliamentary Complex, located in West Nusa Tenggara, has also been touched by the protesters. And Makassar Regional House of Representatives was also set on fire by the protesters. Grahada State Building in Surabaya has also been set ablaze by the protesters in Indonesia. Pekalongan municipal legislature has also been touched by the protesters and was actually damaged during the protest. Major municipal legislature, also similar to the Pekalongan, has also suffered damage as a result of the protest. West Kalimantan House of Representatives was also stormed by protesters and also suffered some damage.
Kalau memang siapapun itu yang salah, tolong ditindak. Ya, maupun aparat atau siapapun gitu ya. Tidak, maksudnya jangan sampai
10 times, bro, but 30 times the minimum wage because the salary is 104 million rupiah and above. What? 104 million rupiah for parliamentarians? For doing what really? And so say 104 million and above, and 50 million rupiah is part of the monthly bonus, not the total amount of the main salary. Wow, this is not part of the main salary. Wow. And it says that while they raise taxes from 250% to 1000%, well, guys, I can confirm this. I don't know if this is true or not, but this is what somebody wrote in my YouTube comment section. So if this is true, then it's crazy. This is not different from Africa. What happens in Africa? Then it means Indonesia and Africa, we are the same. Same. Africa, Indonesia, collabo. Just now, they disabled TikTok live broadcasts and restricted all posts about the demonstration on social media platforms like Meta, Instagram, and TikTok. Wow. So I already said that. And this one says, social media here is all about demonstration and nothing else. So this one also reacted that the politicians can get nice house in just 5 million rupiah per month. But yet, they choose to make law that they can get the house for 50 million rupiah per month. So how far is that? Wow. And this one says that, calm down, bro. Other parts of Jakarta is normal. The tension only happened in parliamentary building, not only housing allowance. That there is US 1,650 monthly. Wow. Parliamentary members get paid various allowances totaling $16,500 a month. Whoa. That is 50 times minimum wages of Indonesia people. Hey, Indonesia, you are suffering, no? You're not different from Africa. Okay, this one says that the gap between the total salaries of members of the Indonesian House of Representatives and the average income of the general public is truly striking. The phenomenon, coupled with the difficult economic conditions. This one says, they protested against what they said were high taxes and disproportionate salaries. They were even more upset about the salaries of the House of Representatives. This year's salaries were too high, burdening the Indonesian people. They were demanding that they pay.
The politicians get a lot of money, that's what it is.
It. Now, is this a... while their people are left to suffer and even oppressed by the law. Only those who have money, poor people, are oppressed, abused, and even killed without being touched by the law. The lives of poor people are like animals that have no value. Now is the time of the people to unite to eradicate injustice. Wow. So this really tells me
Robinson and how, in a way, he is irrational too if the idea is to save yourself.
Yeah.
Like he was in court in the UK. I sat there and I watched the judge say to him, will you take down that video? This was shortly after you interviewed him.
Yeah.
He put up a video on Twitter. A judge said, don't do it. Don't do it. He did it.
Yeah.
He was brought before the judge. I'm switching gears now.
Yeah.
And and he was in the dock, and the judge said, "I'm going to give you the maximum sentence." The video had been seen 55 million times.
Yeah.
The judge said, "You take it down now. I'm going to lop months."
Silenced?
That's right. And Tommy wouldn't bend the knee.
Yeah. Well, he was out of the country too, and he went back for his trial.
He went back. He was.
I know.
In Spain.
We talked about that. And well, we discussed the pros and cons of him staying away or going back to face the music. And Socrates, when he was sentenced to death by the Athenians, they thought he'd run. Like they told him, we're going to try you 6 months from now. Hint, hint, wink, wink.
Yeah.
Why don't you get out of town, you troublesome old goat?
Yeah.
Because otherwise, the axe is going to fall. And he went out and had a little discussion with his conscience, and it said, don't run.
Yeah. Well, I visited Tommy in Spain and came back with him on the flight because we thought he would be arrested the minute he landed. They waited a few days and they picked him up strategically so he could not attend a rally.
Oh, yeah.
And let me talk about that moment just for 1 second. Tommy has flaws, but he also has within him a gleaming diamond that is rare. And let me tell you what that is. The video had been seen 55 million times. The judge was saying, if you take it down now, you'll go home to your family months earlier. And I'll confess, I said to Tommy, I said, look, brother, you've had the most watched documentary film ever produced in the UK. That's the biggest win of all time. Take it down and don't be away from your family.
Yeah.
And I said that to him as a friend. I said, you have the biggest win you can. 55 million views? He said, no. Now it has over 150 million views. And the world is talking about it, including Elon Musk himself, who retweeted it. And see, the law isn't used to dealing with people who are not rationalizing, sort of maximizing the optimal outcome for reducing pain.
No, the optimal outcome for reducing immediate pain.
Right.
That's a big difference,
You're right.
man.
So they thought I was going to take the deal back in 2008 to let the Z-Mum have a page in the magazine rather than to fight a six-figure fight for 3 years.
Yeah.
And with Tommy, they thought he would bend the knee and take that thing down. Instead, he said, no, I'll hold fast.
Yeah.
And so he's still in the clink. By the way, they have him in solitary confinement.
Yeah.
They cleared out the whole segregation block. He's the only prisoner in there. He's in his cell 21 hours a day. He's allowed out to have a shower. He's allowed out to ride a stationary bike and to sort of a homemade gym. The rest of the time, he is in isolation. It's been over 100 days.
Right now, they've...
Tommy Robinson has fled Britain hours after he was filmed next to an unconscious man at a London train station. Cops have launched a hunt to find the EDL founder, hours after footage showed him shouting, "You saw him, he came at me," as a man laid unresponsive and bleeding on the floor at St Pancras station in London. In a statement, British Transport Police said that a 42-year-old man had boarded the plane out the country in the early hours today. Last night, footage showed Robinson walking down the steps towards the platform, while another man can be heard saying, "Quick, quick, can we get someone here quick?" to staff. Another bystander shouts, "Tommy, Tommy," in the background. Robinson then comes back up the stairs and appears to tell the man, "He came at me, bro."
What are we expecting in London? How important is the 13th of September? Let me tell you, the entire world is going to be watching us in London. I remember saying for years when I watched the demonstrations in Ireland and other cities.
So, Tommy, a quickie for the people watching.
What's the name of this road?
Beg your
Stamford
pardon?
Road. What's the name of this road? Stanford Street.
We're currently with Tommy Robinson in Stanford Street. Can you look into the camera, Tommy?
Yeah.
Talk to your followers on Twitter and also on YouTube. What exactly is going on at this moment in time?
At the moment, we're meeting with the police. These are all police officers over here. We're meeting with them to finalise preparations and plans of what works best on the day for you, for us, and for them, yeah? So we want to work with them on it. We've got our stewards, we've got our security, and we're planning our route. And what we now know is at the start of this road, so we will have stewards with arms linked along Stanford Road. Stanford Road or Stanford?
Amigo. Oh, this goes for 10 hours. Oh my god, 50 hours, man.
The country, man. Come on.
Do you love Australia?
I love Australia, bro. I love Australia. I would never move anywhere else.
110%. What do you feel about the crowd? Yeah, so my question...
This is Abi Jamini. This is Jabi Jamini. Oh, yes.
What do you feel about the crowd here walking around?
I look at everyone. Oh, yeah, the support that Australia has really touches me. I can't lie. It really
Has
does.
anybody here attacked you for your skin colour?
Surprisingly, we had a lot of love everywhere. Ever since we've been in the crowd. Come on, man.
I would do anything for him now.
Come on, man. We're just here to support, you know?
And to be fair, why did you steal my height? Guys, good on you, good on you. Well done.
Put a message out to the public. This isn't about racism, we just want change. You come to this country, you respect the flag, you don't burn it, yeah? You respect the ground, you respect the heritage. You either adopt it and be a part of it or fuck off. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie! Aussie, Aussie, Aussie!
3 reasons why the Body Pod is the best investment you'll make in 2025. Reason 1, Hume is giving you 40...
No, what the fuck? How the fuck do I... What is this? This is insane. Violent. So this is in...
How you doing, sir? Are you okay?
Harvey.
What's happened?
The pro-Palestine people did this to him. They think they're innocent. Look what they did to this innocent man.
The front page of the Age newspaper today screams, neo-Nazis, counter-protesters clash in violent scenes in the CBD, with a photo of an older man being punched in the face. But who is this man that the Age framed as a Nazi splashed on the front cover, and why was he really attacked? Well, unlike the fake news, we actually asked
One
him.
of her terrorists came, burst through the police line, stole my dog tags, and another one behind him hit me with a metal object.
Have police arrested the person responsible?
No, because they disappear back into the crowd, you know. It's hit and run operation. You can't expect a terrorist to have courage.
Are you okay?
Yes. A little bit pissed off. Unfortunately, my head was ringing, so I grabbed onto it, but its collar tore off in my hand.
Did they target you specifically? Is it something to do with your shirt?
Probably the Star of David.
Do you get that? He was attacked by pro-Palestinian activists for wearing a Star of David. Quite literally the opposite of a Nazi. So it's no surprise how they reported another attack, this time from actual neo-Nazis against my team. This is what they actually wrote. Far-right commentator Avi Yemini, who is Jewish and pro-Israeli, was attacked by neo-Nazis as he tried to join the March for Australia. Let's get this straight. Firstly,
I'm not far right. I'm just right. Ask my wife. Secondly, what does me being Jewish or pro-Israeli have to do with me doing my job? The fact is that those fringe neo-Nazis were despised by almost everyone there yesterday. In fact, after the police allowed them into the rally without even following them, they bashed their way through the crowd who didn't want them there. But isn't it funny? When I do their job properly, like speaking to the victim of an attack, instead of just labeling him, they claim I was just there joining the march. No. I was there reporting the facts, something they only pretend to do. And I'm proud of our work because almost 500,000 people tuned in live across our platforms. And as of right now, more than 1 million people have viewed it, which is why it's so mind-boggling to me how the Age still believe they can get away with lying to the public. If you think it's important to expose the mainstream media's lies, their spin, make sure to like, comment, and share this report far and wide. And then head over to followrv.com to join the mailing list and follow me across all platforms. That way you'll see the fully produced final report with unseen footage from other cameras of what really happened.
Enjoy blazing benefits this EPL season at Palmerbet. What's gambling really costing you?
It is what it is.
No one hates Nazis. They're Nazis. Nazis want to kill anyone that's not their Nazi group. White supremacists. That's what they are.
48, right?
So it's not a new genocide.
No. This is like the 11th invasion of Gaza, right?
So I'm saying, how does genocide work when the population has, what did it start with, 750,000, now 6 million? How's that a genocide since 1948?
Genocide where you just you're moving people out of their homes, fucking burning homes, burning kids alive, fucking heroes, cowards, fucking cowards.
Are Hamas heroes?
No, I'm not saying. Well, they're a resistance movement.
So they are heroes?
They're a resistance movement, right?
Are they heroes or not? Are they heroes or not?
Do you even know what Hamas is? Yeah, what is it?
You tell me.
You're trying
What's Hamas?
Trying to claim that the military wing of the government there is Hamas, right?
Are they a terrorist group? Have you read their charter?
I have actually, yeah. Have you, the updated version?
Oh, the updated. What did they update in the version?
Yeah, well, you tell me.
What did they update?
Yeah, you seem to know all about it.
They update the part where they want to track Jews down around the world and kill them, yeah? They cut that bit out now. Why? Why don't you have a problem with the original Hamas charter?
No. I'm against slaughter of civilians, right?
No, you're not. You're only when it's the Jews. When you can say it's the Jews that are committing it, you're against it. When it's Hamas, you're not.
No, Jews
absolutely. The one Jewish state,
Israel.
Mate.
What?
The one Jewish state. So explain to me, just the maths. How's it a genocide from 1948, like you said, when in 1948 there was about 700 of them, 700,000, now there's like 6 million.
So
how's it a genocide?
You're denying that they're slaughtering and starving children?
Yes, I am.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
All right. Well, good on you. I hope you enjoy your day and feel comfortable tonight after marching with Nazis, mate.
I didn't march with Nazis, but the live stream can watch exactly what happened.
Luckily, I was doing his job for him.
Yeah, you're more of an anti-fascist because you actually punch.
Apparently, this young lady wants to say hello to you.
How you doing?
How are you?
I'm great. How you doing?
Really good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Thank you.
What's going on here? All right, where's Roxanne? All right.
World War I and World War II guys died for this country. They danced in these streets.
Bro, can I ask you, why you guys standing your ground? Why you guys standing your ground here?
You wouldn't have all this freedom. And it's not about us and all that kind of stuff. No.
Let's go then.
And I'm homeless. But thing here, I am homeless. No, Vic. See him on camera. The government don't have money. Refugees are welcome here.
think they tear themselves apart.
They're calling us Nazis for loving our own country. We're not Nazis. We love our country. We're just proud. We want less immigration. We want small business. We want the businesses to do better. We just want to slow down, mate. We don't want immigrants gone. We just want to slow down. I don't think that's too much to ask for.
What do you think they hate more, Australia or Jews?
Nazis are not. Who's the Nazi?
Refugees are welcome here. Nazis are
Who's the
not.
Nazi? Why are we
Refugees
Nazis?
are welcome here. Ivy is not.
Why are we
Refugees
Nazis?
are welcome here. Ivy is not.
Why are we
Refugees are welcome here. Ivy is not. Refugees are welcome here.
Refugees are welcome here. Avi is not. I told you they hate me more than they hate this country or Israel. Let's go.
So we'll go back to England if you go back to Turkey. Same girl. Pretty fucking simple.
You alright? Who? Your friend. Yeah.
Hey, good, bro. How you doing? Hey, man, how you doing?
Alright.
Good, bro. Thanks, brother. So as you can see, guys, the main group.
What do you think about Jesus?
Walked up towards Parliament Spring Street.
What did you say about Jesus?
A couple of Australians here have stood defiantly against the pro-Palestinians.
These guys have zero respect. But will you say the same thing about Mohammed?
They've held their ground there. And I asked the guy why he's not moving, and he said he's not going to push back.
No, but you said F Jesus. Would you say that about Mohammed? Would you say that? You're a coward. You wouldn't say it against Mohammed. You're a coward. You're a coward. What a coward. He just said, I hate religion, F Jesus. But he's too scared to say Mohammed because his allies, the Free Palestine group, will send him flying off a Gaza building. Coward. Coward.
Should not feel comfortable in this space right now because we are protecting the peace and you are creating violence. So how about you fuck off?
You're creating. Wait, what? Did we just watch the same scenario? I'm the one creating. What are you doing, man? What's your deal? How you doing? How you doing? You want me to talk to you? Well, alright, let's go.
I don't want to speak to him. He's wrong. He's a right.
How you going? You alright? What are you fucking putting that in my face for? Come here, come. Let's talk about. You keep trying to put the camera in my face. I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you. You want to talk?
Say something. It's my YouTube channel explode.
How are you doing YouTube? What's your YouTube channel?
Message user.
Journey on Earth.
Yeah, bro.
What do you do on that channel?
Recording everything, historic things that's happening around the world.
This is the most historic moment.
That's right.
Like, subscribe, share. I don't know if he's any good, but I'm in it, so it's going to be good.
Exactly. Everyone to live.
Put it here. You can go get his son.
For anyone. For anyone. Not just the one. From those who come across the sea with boundless claims to land. Place to share. For all people.
So you want to start a business. You might think you need a team of people and fancy tech skills, but you don't. You just need GoDaddy.
Place to share. For all people.
This has been an action-packed day. Where's Rukshan?
He's with us.
Rukshan, how great was that? Did you see that guy?
Yeah.
So proud to say FG.
What are you going to kiss? That was cute. Where's the
Are they lefties?
I don't know what they are. Yeah, they are. They're lefties. I couldn't tell what they were.
I don't know what they are.
They're unclear.
Hey, man, how you doing? Good to see you, bro. Good to see you. Love your hat. All the best. Love you, dog.
Yeah, thank you, brother. All right, let's keep going.
You're popular. You think I'll vote you number one?
I'm popular on all sides. How you going, boys?
I met you at the second protest. So, guys, we're just walking up to Spring Street.
Back before we lost the city to this crowd.
Yeah, exactly.
I got to say though, I'm pretty proud. I feel like Australia still dominated the city today. I feel like
organised. We needed a couple more loudspeakers like the opposition men.
Well, I think there was a very big problem with organisation in the Melbourne protest, and that's why they. And the wrong people, small group.
One more, mate.
There you go. But I'm seeing a sea of Aussie flags across the city. Yeah. The Palestinians that are usually intimidating everyone, they're the one on the back foot today, aren't they?
One more, mate. Didn't work.
I can have a coffee. No, just leave it.
No, I'm taking fucking video.
No, that's counting down. It's counting down. Just hold it. We got an hour wait, have a coffee.
Go, bruh.
2, 1.
Go.
Free Gaza!
It must be the money.
What's happening? I saw you having a little bit of an argument. What were you doing with him?
No, I was just making the point that something I thought on the way in this morning was that the biggest problem of all is that it's like the old saying, build it and they will come. They're coming and we're building after it, and it never catches up. And that's the point I was making to these people that they're saying about housing, we've got to fix housing, and there's all these vacant houses there is. So I think we ended up having an agreement with a couple of people there.
What are they? I don't know. Walking around, are you not here for protest or something?
What's a protest?
What are you wearing?
Clothes. Yeah.
Why are you wearing those?
Those what?
Masks.
Masks? Everyone's wearing clothes. Yeah.
I don't know they're part of anything. I think they're just kids.
You are the man from COVID.
What is that? Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good job.
What happened? Yeah. Thank you.
Support you, mate. Lovely work, mate.
Yeah, all good. What's wrong?
Thank you, bro. Good to see you, man. How you doing?
Yeah, good, thanks, man.
Hey, Brad. What's happening, bro? Good to see you, man. Yeah, man.
What is it?
Good, bro. Yeah. Good. It's been hectic. Yeah, it's all right. A lot of people stepped in, so it's good. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw him go down, man.
Yeah. No. He held his ground, bro. He held his ground.
Hey, man.
Hello. Yeah, good to see you.
Hated by all the right people.
I'm back, yeah.
I was sitting on my couch at home when you got roughed out. I thought, fuck this, I'm in.
Oh, you came once you saw the...
Yeah. Saw it and thought,
Have you got it?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. That's all right. Get in here with the skirt. Where's it?
Man here.
No, the Australian flag skirt.
The Australian flag. I thought you were talking about my skirt.
So, guys, you can see
Please don't wear a skirt, mate.
people are
100%.
dispersing and marching back towards the city, but in smaller groups. So it's pretty much come to the end of the march.
Thank you.
We've been following you for 5 years.
Sorry, thank you for your work. I'm a high school teacher. I've been battling this left-wing woke crap for 20 years, and I really just appreciate the work you're doing. Bringing us all together. All Australians are equal. We're all brothers and sisters, and that's the basic message. So thank you for your work.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, God bless.
All right.
What's better after 50 when? Gym or Tai Chi?
One builds ego.
Sisters, and that's the basic message. So thank you for your work.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, God bless.
All right. 100%.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Of course.
Would you mind taking it?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Sorry, quick.
Where's Roxanne?
Half these morons don't realise they call in for the location of Australia.
I know.
Yeah, that's the one.
The white dog?
Thanks, bro.
Sure you want a photo with him?
We're going to photo with you, you're a ledge.
No, thank you.
Come here, Charlie, what do you want? Come on, man. Don't muck around.
So how's the live stream anyway?
There you go, the ball is...
So I got to finish station, but I was kicked out by a bunch of neo-Nazis. And then I went to interview the pro-Palestine side, and they were pretty... Yeah.
Watching the sport now.
Yeah, I'm just doing my live stream.
Cheers, bud. Thank you, brother.
Can we get one?
Sorry,
Sorry, like... Good seeing that. Good on you.
Shalom.
Should we go somewhere?
Should we go somewhere and debrief and just read some of the super chats and
Let's do that.
Where are we parked? Yeah, we're gonna go somewhere where we can sit a few minutes. Down there?
Yeah.
Let's go. Very far away. We're gonna be live, so 100%. Let's go. Love the.
Good.
Thank you. Where mother goes,
mate. You keep going.
Oh, thank you, brother.
And don't worry about it.
So guys, we're just gonna. Hey mate, thank you.
Thank you, brother.
We're gonna just go find somewhere to debrief as the march comes to an end here.
What's happening?
We'll probably read some of the super chats.
I feel like I've been. Don't put us in the same league as same sentence as Chris Ovaries. You make me sit. Did you hear that, Rukshan?
What?
This guy tried to. This guy just. Who's a Jew?
Oh, Yemen! Oh my God! I am not anti-Semite, okay? I love Jewish people. I think it's one of the most beautiful, most peaceful cultures in the world besides Islam, okay? But Zionism is a political agenda that comes from Christianity. And what Benjamin Netanyahu is doing in Israel right now...
You think Zionism comes from Christianity?
It does. Look it up. Look it up.
I've lived my whole life as a Jew. You know what we say at the end of every...
Look it up, bitch.
You know, at the end of every Jewish holiday what we say?
Stop fact-checking, have you? Fact-check that. Google it, dude.
Grok. Hey, Grok.
Yes.
Hey, Grok. Where's Grok? Hey, Grok.
Google it.
Can we
Zionism is not
Can we get a psychologist on the corner of Exhibition and Collins?
Darling, you're the one who needs a psychologist.
Do you not care about indigenous rights of Israel?
Of course, no, Israel. Sorry, no.
Who's indigenous?
You tried to trick me there.
I didn't.
Palestine is the only state that is indigenous to that place.
Okay, so just
and thanks to the first Nakba and the support of
Nakba. I like the way you say that. Nakba. Thank you.
See? Everywhere you go in the street today, there's brave Aussies willing to stand up for Australia here. This is what makes me proud.
This might just save you from your next dental bill. My parents have very brittle teeth, and that got passed down to me as well. 3 months ago, I went to the dentist and
From 1974 to 1992, does that make sense?
Probably, yeah. Yep.
So that would have been state parliament, and then he went federal.
State, yeah.
Okay, you gotta come.
Wow, he's been in this game for a long time.
Gotta come to this view, bloke. I'm out. I'm intermixhector. I'm out. How do you get it out? Intermixhector. Subscribe. Intermixhector. Subscribe.